Okay, there's been a lot of talk about the gold to silver ratio, and a lot of people have said that it's going to go to one, gold to silver. Uh, what do I think on the subject about this? As I'm not going to express my opinion to you, I want to show you the facts and I'll let you decide for yourself what you think the ratio is going to go to. And then I'm going to show you charts and stuff, and I'm going to show you information from the past to the present, and what I'm going to do then is I will give you my opinion of where I think it's going to go toward the conclusion of this. So let's get started, shall we? First off, the gold to silver. How does it come out of the ground? Is the ratio the same today as it was in ancient times? Well, one of the things you have to understand is, and this is pretty much set, is the rate the gold to silver comes out of the ground right now is 1 to 10 on the earth today. Now, that's the mining ratio. They get the gold to silver out of the ground, 1 to 10. Now, if you go to buy gold, gold is right now running around 70 to 1. Uh, and also, it's been 80 to 1. And so these two numbers, 80 to 1, 70 to 1, this is absurd. This is absurdity. We all know this. And you know about the gold to silver ratio when you go to buy it right now. You know how absurd these numbers are. Uh, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is it comes out of the ground right now at 10 to 1. What did it come out of the ground at in ancient times? So let's read here. It says a primary Greek deposit of antediluvial gold was the river Pactolus, which drained the Anatolian highlands. Today, the exact location of this river is uncertain, and the gold strata are no longer being eroded. It was the gold from these sources that King Croesus used to issue the first true coinage backed by his crown, because Greece as a whole had inadequate gold resources to support an extensive gold coinage. Silver, for the first time, became the medium of exchange, and the gold to silver ratio was set at 1 to 13. So there you have it right there in Greek times. Now, I've read other sources that have put the gold to silver ratio in ancient times at 1 to 14. But let's go with these two numbers, so 1 to 13, 1 to 14, in around this area, 1 to 13, 1 to 14. Now it's 1 to 10. Let's take one more little piece of information. In the Earth's crust, the ratio is running at 1 to 17. So now when they've begun mining, back at the start, very start of all these operations of mining on the Earth, and if we went back into prehistory, all the way to the rough beginnings, when they first started mining gold and silver out, and they probably picked up lumps of gold on the ground. They walk around in stream beds. I've heard about when they first went to Sutter's Mill, they found lumps of gold laying in the bottom of the stream. Just great big nuggets there, just laying there on the ground, you know? And they'd pick the gold up and they just gobs of it laying there. And so these things affect the ratio. Uh, so here we have it. They've mined the gold out, and the thing is they've mined the silver out, and the ratios are modifying as they mine the gold and the silver out of the mines. The ratios are modifying. So in the ground, it's at 1 to 17, but as they start to mine the gold and the silver, the ratios change, and now we've got a 1 to 10 ratio. So now a chart can be drawn of the modifications to the ratio over the centuries. And with this understanding of the modifying of the ratios, what will it be also looking into the future? So I've drawn this chart and I want to show it to you now. Okay, now let's look at this chart. If we look at the top of the chart, we'll see in the black numbers the dates going all the way back to 1,000 years before Christ, BC standing for before Christ. Then we move to the second number, which is 100 AD. That means after death, or after Christ. It's 100 years after Christ died. And then 400 AD, 400 years after Christ died, and 700 AD, 1000 AD, 1300 AD, the year 1300, the year 1600, and then moving up into the modern era, 1900 AD was back in the 1900s, and then the final one is 2017, where we are right now. Now the yellow line shows you the gold to silver ratio that is in the mines, and going back to around 1000 BC, it was roughly between 13 and 15%. And then it started to slowly decrease, and now at the end of the chart you can see where we're at right now at 2017, exactly 10%. And you can just see the descending yellow line, and that's not going to stop. If you move 100 years into our future, it's probably going to be around 9% or 9.5%. This descending yellow line, it takes a long time. It's not something that's happening quickly. It's a process that's happening in our minds on the earth, and it's a process that's happening very slowly, and it's a very subtle process. But this chart shows you how the process is working and how the percentage of gold to silver in the earth's in the ratio in our minds is changing, even though the red line indicates the gold to silver ratio in the earth's crust, which has remained unchanged. But those deposits of gold to silver in the Earth's crust are very. We've went through all of the major deposits, and it's these major deposits that are the descending yellow line, whereas the red line that's steady at 17% gold to silver ratio in the Earth's crust that's unchanged is gold and silver that is very hard to get. Like if right now you went into your backyard and decided to go get some gold and silver right out of your backyard, you'd be digging all day for very, very minute quantities, extremely small quantities. It wouldn't be worth your while, but you would probably find some gold and silver in your backyard. If you set up a sluice and you start to do mining production in your backyard, but you'd be mining all year. You might have to mine through 100 tons of material just to get less than an ounce of gold. So it wouldn't be worth your while. But you would find that ratio, because that's never been mined before, you'd find the ratio at 17-1. And that's what the red line indicates right there. The 17-1 ratio that would be there. But these mines, where they're mining right now, they've been mined through the centuries. And they've been mined and mined. And so what's happened is this is where you get this sloping yellow line. And as these mines are continued to be mined all over the earth, then the ratio is going to continue to drop off. And I see it continuing to drop down to, right now it's at 10%. It used to be about 14, 15%. I can see it continuing to drop off towards 9% within the next 100 years. And in fact, the quantities that they're hauling out of these mines is going to decrease also. And the U.S. Geological Survey did a study on silver a few years ago, and they said it's going to be the first element on a periodic table to go extinct because of the rate we're using it at. We're sucking it out of the Earth's crust and using it in industry so fast, and all of this is not recoverable. It costs about $900 and something per ounce to recover silver that's used as solder in these electronic devices. And it's just not worth it. So they're throwing it in, when they're done with the computer, they throw it in the dump. And there's silver in every one of those computers they throw in the dump. Now, you might not have known that. Now, there's also gold in them. They take the CPUs out of the computers, and they take also the connectors out of them, and they melt the gold off. And they use acids and stuff to get the gold off, and they smelt it down into little bars again, especially in the third world countries. So they do recover some of the gold that's in the computers, but they don't recover any of the silver because it's not worthwhile. Not at $15 to $17 an ounce. It's not worth even trying because it costs $900 an ounce to get it back, to recover it. So simply put, what's happening here is the gold and silver ratio is dropping. It's around 10 now, and it's going to drop to around 9. So how does this affect the price? And I'll explain this to you. And now I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to explain to you what I think is going to actually happen. I think in the very near future, because we're using so much silver in industrial and it's not being recovered, and because there's less than 1 billion ounces left, probably considerable less, and because we're going into deficit every year, because gold and silver bar demand and coin demand is going up every year, and the amount of scrap scrap silver that's coming back is growing less every year. The deficit's growing bigger every year. It's a no-brainer. Within the next little while, nobody knows exactly when, but there's going to be a physical supply shortage, and it's probably going to occur in the 1,000-ounce bars. When that happens, everybody and their dog is going to want silver for an investment because the price is going to go up. Silver is going to be a winner. You see, the way it's been now is with silver prices dropping and gold prices dropping, people think to themselves, this is not a really good investment. It could go lower and so on and so forth. But when it's a winner and it's all going up and they know it's going to continue to go up, everybody and their dog's going to want it, and that's when we're going to be in the shortage. And so this absurd ratio of 70 to 1 is going to disintegrate, in my opinion. First, you're going to see 60 to 1, then 50 to 1, and 40 to 1, and 30 to 1, and 20 to 1. And even when it gets to 21, it's still absurd. And the reason why, because it comes out of the ground at 10 to 1. So the way these markets work, they work in a wave pattern. And I've always showed you the wave pattern. Every time a market will overshoot, because it's on its way up, it's in a wave. It'll overshoot. It's like if this is where it's supposed to be, the wave comes up like this and it overshoots. It always overshoots before it comes back down again. And silver will do the same thing with the ratio. So what would it be for it to overshoot if 10 to 1 is the proper ratio where it should be? When it goes into shortage, now you got to understand too that when it goes into shortage, gold is going to be going up too. So it's going to be chasing gold. Silver is going to be chasing gold. So for it to get to a 1 to 1 ratio of gold, it's going to have to catch gold. Gold is going to be like a car on the freeway going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour. And you're in a car on the freeway too going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour. So gold's going up. At the same time, silver's chasing it, just like you're chasing a car at 70 miles an hour. So for you to catch that car, you're going to have to go 140 miles an hour because it's going 70. And silver will. It'll be going faster than gold, up faster than gold. But can it do enough to actually catch and make an even line with gold? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to go to a 1 to 1 ratio. I think that it is going to overshoot the 10 to 1 ratio, though. And I think it's going to overshoot it, not by a huge margin. I'm going to estimate this. I'm going to estimate maybe 4 or 5 to 1 to gold, the ratio. But that's going to be an overshoot. So what it's going to do is it's going to overshoot and then it's going to come back. And it'll more than likely, after it comes back, it'll more than likely settle in at around a 10 to 1 ratio where it should be. And it'll never go back to these absurd ratios of 70 or 80 to 1. And there's reason for that. And the reason has to do with the mines. You see, when silver overshoots and it goes to a 4 to 1 ratio, it's going to dump tremendous money to the miners. they're going to be flooded with incentive to go out and do searching for new deposits. They're going to have the money that they need for exploration. Are you starting to get the point? And then it's going to take a year or two, maybe more than a couple years, but eventually the mines are going to start producing more again to satisfy demand at the higher price. Then what'll happen is there will be a lot of silver coming in, and it won't be able to sustain that overshot price of 4-to-1, and it'll drop back to the 10-to-1 ratio where it should be. And this is my prediction about what's going to happen. So I'm predicting a 4-to-1 ratio to gold. But by the time it gets to a 4-to-1 ratio to gold, gold is going to be considerably higher than it is now. And then it's going to drop back to 10-to-1. So if you like my article on this, like and subscribe, and I'll try to do more work for you people on here, and I'll try to keep you up to date on the latest breaking news coming out of Europe. When the crisis starts in Europe, I'll be doing lots of information on what's going on. Thank you very much, and like and subscribe, and goodbye for now. Bye.